Henry Lee Lucas. Some call him a monster, the most dangerous serial killer in United States criminal history. He has confessed to killing over 157 innocent people and has been convicted of murder 11 times. Born August 16, 1936, in Blacksburg, Virginia, he committed his first violent rape at age 15. When he was 24, he stabbed his own mother to death in Tecumseh, Michigan. Released from prison there due to overcrowding conditions, he swore he'd kill again, and he just never stopped. Together with his traveling companion and lover, Otis Toole, Lucas went on a terrible spree of killing that lasted for years across 36 states. He was finally arrested on June 16, 1983, for the murder and mutilation of his teenage girlfriend, Frida Becky Powell, and an 85-year-old woman named Kate Rich. What you are about to hear is the actual voice of Henry Lee Lucas, confessing to some of his gruesome crimes. Excerpted from authentic police tapes of his sworn statements used as evidence during his trials, his descriptions detail the life he led as a serial killer, his victims, and the cold-blooded killings he committed. This tape represents the first time a killer's own voice has ever been made available for general distribution. Due to the nature of this material, the sound quality is gritty and rough. However, everything you are about to hear is absolutely real. Henry Lee Lucas describes his life as a serial killer during a prison interview.
I've got 36 states in 3 different countries. My victims never knew what was going to happen. I've had shootings, knifings, strangulations, beatings, and I've participated in actual crucifixions of the humans. All across the country, there's people just like me who set out to destroy human life.
Henry Lee Lucas confesses to the roadside murder of an unidentified young woman. Police call the case Orange Socks after the only article of clothing found by the woman's dead body, a pair of orange socks. The confession was made in the sheriff's office in Georgetown, Texas, on August 2, 1983.
Well, after I picked her up, like I was telling before, we drove around a while. We stopped and had sex voluntarily. And during the time we had sex, I wasn't satisfied. She put her clothes back on, and we drove around for a while, and then we stopped and ate. The truck stopped. We got back in, drove around some more. We kind of started to head back down south, so we took 35 south. After we come down a ways on 35, I asked her to have sex with me, and she told me not right now. So she went to jump out of the car, which I grabbed her and pulled her back in the car. And we drove for a little piece further than that, and I pulled off because she was fighting so hard I almost lost control of the car and wrecked. After I pulled over, I grabbed her by the neck and choked her until she died. And I had sex with her again. And I got her back in the back seat and drove on down to the culvert here where on 35, where I showed you today, and yesterday too. Dropped her over the culvert. That's the last time I seen her until you showed me the picture.
Lucas confesses to the armed robbery and murder of a store clerk at Clark Grocery Store and Gas Station on Highway 91 in rural Georgia. This confession was recorded on the actual site of the crime by investigating officers.
I was coming out of Pennsylvania, heading towards Florida. And I came down 75, and I turned off way back up north here and came across and came through Albany. been on 91 back up here a ways, right around Albany. I turned on 91, and I stayed on 91 because we was trying to find a place to break into or rob a place. Me and others too. And when we got down in here, I seen the place that looked like it was secluded enough or there wouldn't be no trouble in robbing. So I told Otis, I said, when we get in now, I said, I'm going to hold this place up. I said, I want you to back me up. And he said, okay. And we pulled around sort of to the side of the place over there, about where that pickup truck is showing over yonder now. And I stopped there. And I got out, and there was another car sitting out front there. I got out and went on in and went back to my right over in there. And I started just goofing around over in there looking and waiting for people to leave. And a few seconds or a few minutes after I got in there, this man and woman left. It was about a 25 or 26-year-old man and a young woman. They left. So when they left, the woman came out from behind the counter to see what I was doing. And Otis, he came in, but I never did see him come through the front door. And she looked up and she seen Otis, and she started to run. And when she started to run, well, I grabbed her. And I put a .22 on her. I told her, I said, now you do what I want or I'm going to shoot you. So she said, don't shoot me. She said, don't kill me. I'll take you and do what you want. So I took her on back up to the cash register. And we went in behind the cash register, and I told her, I said, give me your money. So she got it out of the cash register. We tied her up, but she kept trying to pull away from us. So we tied her hands, and as best I can remember, we tied her behind her. We took her on to back towards the back room, on back in the back part of the store there. And I shot her back there. And the bullet, the best that I can remember, I'm pretty sure it hit her somewhere along above the left ear. Be somewhere along up in here. And she fell. And I can remember Otis walking over and turning her over, pulling her clothes down, having sex with her. Then I came on back. I picked up 2 cases of something in there, but I don't remember what it was. And I came on back out, and I told him, I said, let's go. He said, we can't hang around here. So he finally came on out the store and got in the car. And we turned and went back north.
The Confessions of Henry Lee Lucas continue on Side 2. During this lengthy confession, Henry Lee Lucas describes weeks of killings he and Otis Toole committed as they drove across Georgia. Agents of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation point to various locations throughout the state on a large wall map, and Lucas recites the details of the murders that took place at each location. Along the South Georgia coastline.
That would be a 16 to 18-year-old white female that was taken out of town and killed, and had been left out by the side of a lake, a homemade lake out there. She's brown-headed, young white female.
In Brunswick.
Been a robbery. Well, it was an attempted robbery, really. It wasn't really a robbery. We went there to get beer on Sunday. And we were told that we'd have to leave and he wasn't going to sell us no beer. And we went back later on and he was shot by us too.
outside of Savannah.
Sort of a blondish female that we picked up in Savannah at a truck stop and took her south from Savannah. We went down by a pond way back in the woods and had killed her. And then after she was killed, Otis had mutilated the body of the female.
Near Hinesville.
There's a female where I kept looking for her for a whole day. That was at a Y that I kidnapped out of a parking lot in Otis. And the two kids, Becky and Frank. She had been stabbed to death, sort of a middle-aged white woman.
Near Dublin.
Armed robbery, where Otis had killed a man inside of a store. Let's see, that was a male inside of a convenience store there in town.
Across southwest Georgia.
That would be a resident murder of a white female that I personally killed there in the living room of her home.
In Donaldsonville.
That's a case of mine and Otis, really, because I was with him. We had went to a little store, I call it a convenience store, and Otis and Becky had went in, and Becky came back and got in the car, and I went on down the road and parked. It's a female that was killed in a bathroom in the store.
Outside of Albany.
That was also with me in Otis. I had went there looking for a place to rob, to break into, and I came up on the store, a convenience store, and a white woman was in it. And we tied the white woman up, and I'd stabbed her in the back part of the store.
Along the Georgia-Alabama state lines in West Georgia.
It's what I call a little pawn malt store, a little country store I call it. That's where I went in and robbed, or attempted to rob a man, and had stabbed him in the store, and then he chased me outside the store, and I killed him outside the store, stabbed him to death.
Outside Atlanta in Douglasville.
That would be another case involving me and Otis, where we picked up a white male at a bar next to Atlanta here, right next to the city, and had taken out in the country, and we tried to make him Otis wanted to have sex with him. He didn't want him as dirty as he was. He was trying to make him clean up, and the guy wouldn't do it, and so he beat him to death.
Henry Lee Lucas confesses to the murder of his teenage girlfriend, Frida Becky Powell, in Denton County, Texas.
We argued for a long time, and it was so hot, muggy from heat and stuff, And I took my clothes off and laid down on the blanket, and Becky took all her clothes off except her panties and bra. And we kept arguing, and cussing each other, and finally I just told her we were going back the next morning regardless. She hauled off, hit me upside the head, and that was it. Well, I stabbed her with a knife. I just picked it up off the blanket and brought it around, hit her right in the chest with it. And she just sort of sat there for a little bit and then just dropped on over, you know. I took her panties and her bra off, and I had sexual intercourse with her. It's one of those things that I guess it got to be a part of my life, having sexual intercourse with the dead. Well, after that, I cut her up in little teeny pieces and stuffed her in 3 pillows that we had. I dumped the stuff out of the pillows and stuffed all of her in there except her legs and I guess you could say her thighs. And after I put all that in there, well, I got up and drug them back out and we'll feel a little piece, you know. 2 weeks later, I came back to bury Becky, and I went over and buried one bag of her remains, and they were buried there at the tree. And I wanted to bury the rest of her, but I just couldn't do it.
For the complete true crime story of Henry Lee Lucas, his life and crimes, read the book Henry Lee Lucas, the Most Notorious Serial Killer in America, written by noted criminal psychologist Dr. Joel Norris, published by Zebra Books. This tape was narrated by Paul Dinnis.